I knew it. Another Heard At Media production.
So Jen says, but nothing, like she sends a text, like she's like, hey, nothing we can't get through together. This film will be successful. She has already promoted heavily. So if she backs away now, it looks worse on her. And you just focus on the bigger picture of how this film is going to change the game for you in the studio. He's like, I'm just trying to find ways to keep me busy while she gets everyone together. And obviously, if the whole cast is making content together, that's her trying to clue people onto there being an issue between us. Everything she does is calculated or maniac. And I think that's so shitty because it sounds like what she was doing was getting the actors and actresses together, just like making sure he wasn't included, even though, okay, it's one thing if he was just a director, he was a lead actor. So she was making sure that he wasn't included in it.
But at this point, like, why? Like, what is her motive? Like, we know maybe why what is her motive with this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's crazy. Like, why was she so mad? Like, why is she doing all of this?
Yeah. And he's like, and Jen Abel, the PR person, says, I hear you. We're already ahead of this with Sony, who has our back here. So she's saying Sony has our back. I feel good about that. And they understand the larger issue if fans start poking holes. This doesn't benefit Sony either. And that's why we just stay ahead of it. He's like attempting to rewrite history. And like, I'm not the one who developed this and spent 5 years trying to make it. And there's an issue with me. It's just mean. It's hurtful. And she knows exactly what she's doing. I'm sorry, you guys. Blake Lively is coming across as the biggest mean girl to ever hit America. Like, I don't even know. I don't know how anyone could defend this. I really don't. Okay, so in another thing, Justin Baldoni he sends to his dream team, his editors, hey, I had an infection in my spine, pretty serious. Great doctors, they caught it early. I had a feeling my body is done, too much stress. I'll be in the hospital probably until Tuesday now, then IV antibiotics via a PICC line for 6 weeks, which means I can't travel. And then editor number one says, damn, then just take care of yourself. If Blake is so determined to handle the marketing on the movie, then just let her. Perfect time to look out for number one. And then you just see Justin in the hospital, like trying to be positive. And then Justin says, if you think about it, we didn't even finish our director's cut because she intervened. So ideally, at some point, we can take a week and all just do it together for ourselves. But that just opens up a can of worms. So we will need to just let this play out for a while before we pull that card. And your door will be knocked on. The amount of women who feel seen, that's it. It's reaching people all over the world, that men are remembering their own traumas and having conversations with their partners. That's why we did this, and it worked. We're still the dream team. And editor two said, incredible. That's the best news. Editor number one said, exactly. That's the most important thing here. So they all point out how Blake was hired on as a lead and granted an executive producer, but that way I'm dying because Chantel's like probably dying right now.
Literally.
But that Wayfair did not request or need anything from Blake's past performance and the credit. So the last time we see Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni again be all buddy and close was May of 2023 as it started filming. At this point, they had a 4-year friendship. In the lawsuit about on May 15th, when Blake decides to take over wardrobe, it was on May 15th, principal photography of the film in New Jersey. During pre-production, Blake began to assert her self-control over aspects of the film beyond her role as an actor and outside the scope. While lead actors are sometimes granted approval over the general look of their on-screen character, this authority typically does not include full control over wardrobe decisions without input from the director and producers. Nevertheless, Blake overstepped these boundaries, sidelining the production's costume designer, a seasoned professional with a long-standing working relationship with Blake, who worked with her on Gossip Girl. Ignoring the director's vision for her character and disregarding the weeks spent by the entire team shopping and thoughtfully crafting her wardrobe in preparation for filming, Blake would send hundreds of images to the film's costume designer during all hours of the evening, pointing them in this direction of her appearance, saying this is what she wanted for her character. The costume designer then had to reshop her wardrobe, far exceeding the
time for this. Like,
I
why?
know.
Why? You just had a kid. What are you doing? Just show
Right.
up and act. Just show up
Yes.
and act.
It's her fourth fucking kid. Yeah. Far exceeding the allocated budget and diverting time and resources. At one point, Blake insisted that her character had money and could afford $5,000 pair of shoes, which had Justin rethinking the entire script that had been being worked on for well over a year and had been approved by both studios. Blake also several times refused to participate in wardrobe fittings at the production office, a mere 15 minutes away from Blake's Tribeca residence. Instead, she insisted that the costume department pack up the wardrobe department, deliver all the wardrobe items to her, loading the wardrobe department on trucks and delivering them to Blake's residence for fittings added both time to the production schedule and expense to the film. Two things production worked hard to avoid with careful planning. These demands were never mentioned at the contract negotiation phase and therefore were not included in the budget. Blake herself, having a further obligation to the studios as an executive producer, paid no mind to the budget and the months of planning that had already occurred.
And again, this is a business, so like it does matter, like if you're on budget or not.
Exactly.
Because people want to work
as an executive producer, you should care about that.
Yeah, and like people want, like, as like a director, you could say I'm always on budget. Like people want that, like when you're a director.
Yeah. Even if Blake had the contractual authority to approve her character's wardrobe, which she did not, a grant of such authority would not and could not imply the right to blow up the film's budget with additional unanticipated costs. And
Wait, I have a question real quick. Like, so this is in the lawsuit to New York Times?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's they're responding to every claim from New York Times.
Okay.
So they're responding to everything. In an effort to maintain harmony at the start of their working relationship and to avoid further delays caused by wardrobe conflicts, Justin and the studio reluctantly allowed Blake full control over her wardrobe. This concession quickly proved regrettable. And it's, again, the outfits that she picked, it's not like they were even like cute $5,000 outfits. Like no one would be wearing this shit. Like no one would. On the first day of principal photography, paparazzi captured and published photos of Lively in character wearing her self-selected wardrobe. These images were described as unflattering and sparked a backlash from the film's distributors, Sony. Justin received direct criticism from Sony, who voiced concern about the impact of the photos of the film's public perception of Blake Lively's wardrobe. Following these events, Justin approached Blake in her trailer to discuss necessary wardrobe adjustments. The conversation, while professional, took considerable time and was later grossly misrepresented in Blake's CRD complaint, falsely characterizing the exchange as a lengthy outburst that delayed filming and caused the crew to wait for hours while Justin cried in Blake's dressing room. This account, later published by the Time, is false. Although Baldoni did briefly tear up during the conversation, it was in response to what he believed was a genuine compliment from Blake, praising his work as a director and an actor. In hindsight, Justin recognized this as a manipulation tactic likely intended to persuade him to continue allowing her unchecked control over wardrobe decisions.
Wow.
Yes. Blake later leveraged this conversation in support of her allegation of harassment, alleging that Justin made inappropriate comments on her appearance. In reality, Justin was relaying the distributor's concerns and widespread social media criticism regarding to wardrobe. This is what directors do. They can change whatever they want. You're on their film, dude. So this incident marked the beginning of a troubling pattern of manipulative behavior by Blake. During a red carpet interview at the New York City celebrity premiere of the film, Blake stated, "The iconic rooftop scene, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now." Chantel, can you fucking imagine hearing that as a director?
I know, that pissed me off. Well, even, how about even the writers? Like the writers, like you're taking away from them. It's not even the director. It's like the editors, the writers. Like there's so many people involved in a film.
Yeah, well, you're so right. And this revelation came as a surprise to the film's credited screenwriter, who,
and first of all, it's from a book.
Yeah. So the screenwriter, who was later interviewed, graciously responded, "So if I'm being told that Ryan wrote that, then great, how wonderful." The screenwriter further acknowledged, "There were a few little flourishes that I did not write. And if those flourishes came from Ryan, I think that's wonderful." This was also, that's like being politically correct. This was also the first time the plaintiff learned that Ryan, who had no formal role in the film's production, made unauthorized change to the script in secret. Furthermore, Blake herself began altering the script daily. The frequency of Blake's revisions alarmed the producers, director, and studio, who anticipated that her interference would persist every day of the shoot and disrupt the production schedule. Each shooting day was already planned, and her constant changes introduced significant stress on the production crew and financial strain. However, just weeks prior, Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, had aggressively berated Justin during a meeting at their penthouse in New York, accusing him of fat-shaming Blake. Baldoni, in an effort to avoid further confrontation with Blake and Ryan and to rebuild a rapport with the co-star, just continued to bend over so that there wouldn't be any more problems. And I can see that happening. Like, I can see why he was doing that.
Yeah, I know, but like, okay, at one point you have to put your foot down and then like say something. Like you have to.
But it
Because like
sounds like
look what has happened.
it sounds like everything he was doing, they were like holding on to it. It's like he couldn't win no matter what. And so then Ryan and Blake's inappropriate and humiliating berating of Justin, delivered perhaps intentionally as other celebrity friends were coming in and out of their penthouse, was prompted by Justin's reasonable inquiry into crucial information needed to ensure safety and avoid injury in scene. Justin basically, while training for a physically demanding scene in which his character Ryle, oh, that's his character, Chantel Ryle,
Yeah.
would lift Lily, asked his trainer, who was introduced to him by Blake and oversaw his training for the film, how much Blake weighed. Justin Baldoni, who suffers from back issues and has multiple bulging discs, made the inquiry to ensure he could safely perform the lift without injury. Unfortunately, the trainer relayed the information to Blake, who then informed Ryan Reynolds. Why the fuck is Ryan Reynolds involved, dude?
Yeah.
And then the confrontation that followed was so aggressive that Justin felt compelled to offer repeated apologies despite his questions being entirely reasonable and made in good faith. Following this incident, Blake refused to perform the lift scene, even though it had already been rehearsed with a stunt double. In fact, Blake threatened to quit the production altogether, despite her contract obligations, and gave Justin an ultimatum to either cast someone else or work with her in a way that she works. It was her way or the highway. Recasting would be detrimental to production because Wayfair's relationship with Sony, and they've already spent millions. To highlight the effects of masterful gaslighting, Justin and Wayfair also truly believe that in an effort to save herself from the backlash of being recast, Blake could leak that she felt fat shamed by Justin Baldoni, which he thought would ruin his career. Notably, it appears he was not wrong, and despite his efforts to do everything her way, she still tried and continues to try, and arguably did, with the help of time, ruin his career, reputation, and well-being. What do you think about that whole thing? Just so you guys know, like, Hollywood's a shitty place, and to be a celebrity, yeah, sometimes you do have to be a certain way. So I don't know why this is like, I'm sorry. I know that, we're trying to make it more comfortable, but sometimes it does have to be a certain thing. I don't know. I'm sure look, she just had a baby like 6, 7, 8 months ago, 9 months ago at this point. So I get the hormones and things with it, but
a lot of things are uncomfortable. Like that would make me feel uncomfortable. But then the day, like you said, is just like work. So sometimes like you just
this
have
is
to
what
know.
they're used to. Like every celebrity has a story about something about their weight. Like, and it sucks and it's shitty, but this is what they're used to.
He didn't say like, oh, she's too big, I can't do it. He just wanted to know.
Yeah.
And if her weight was too big, it's not like he's just saying like, it's not like he's saying like, oh, you're fat. He's just saying it's too big for me to carry. And he's a smaller guy.
Yeah. You're like, it's too big for me to carry.
Yeah, like, you're too big for me to carry doesn't mean anything. Like Ryan can carry you perfectly. Like he can't.
My husband, yeah, I would look at my husband and be like, you puny ass bitch. Like,
Yeah.
And my husband does have severe back issues. So like one time he did hold me, and I swear to God, the next 2 days he acted like he was
start working out, dude.
No, he has really bad. Like,
I know they say a lot of times your back issues is because you're not strong in areas.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, okay, but like again, we talked about my epidural, like when they poked my back 19 times and then it didn't work. You guys, my back was effed for 6 months. I was in
that's crazy.
excruciating pain every single day. So like back pain is no joke. Okay, anyway, so beyond the script revisions, Blake extended her influence over the film to other areas, frequently challenging decisions and asserting control. She not only rewrote her own dialogue, but also made unilateral changes to other characters' lines, effectively altering the script on a broad scale. This pattern of interference continued to disrupt the production process, often causing stress, chaos, and delays. Over the months leading up to the film's release, Blake and her collaborators consistently scrutinized interactions with Justin and employed tactics that fall squarely within the definition of gaslighting. This behavior pressured Sony, Justin, and Wayfarer into ceding control to Blake at every single turn, resulting in her domination of nearly every aspect of the film's production. Lively sets the stage for coercion by drafting a protection letter that intentionally misrepresents the nature of the conversation had between Justin and her, Heath, and demands Wayfarer parties sign for Blake to return to work after the industry strikes. Principal photography began on May 15, 2024. From mid-June to early November, production was suspended due to industry guild strikes. So that's crazy, Chantel, that all these problems happened in 1 month.
Yeah, I know. Think of like problematic, like coworker you just signed on.
Yeah. And then when the strike ended on November 9th, production was eager to resume filming and make up for lost time. That same day, however, Wayfarer received an unsettling and unexpected email from Blake through her counsel containing a 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that must be met before Blake would return to work. Who does Blake think she is, though, you guys?
I just wish, like, at that point, because like when we knew that she was casted, like they knew the backlash. Like at that point, you could be like, okay, we're gonna find someone else. Thank you so much.
I mean, because it was announced in March, but they didn't start till May. But yeah, I guess you didn't know. You didn't know. I mean, no offense, like Blake Lively is like a C-list actress. Like she's only A-list because of Ryan Reynolds, which I don't even know who he is. So like for a C-list actress to act like this is so scary. Like, sometimes like you get some people when they act like that, but for this person to do that is crazy. So anyways, so she says so the same day they received this unsettling, unexpected email from her attorney containing a 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that must be met before Blake would return. The Wayfarer agreed as the basis for requesting these conditions, which insinuated those demands were the result of inappropriate behavior by Justin and Heath. The terms were agreeable and some were already in place. For example, Blake demanded that an intimacy coordinator be present at all times when Blake was on set. In fact, an intimacy coordinator had already been engaged during the first half of production, so Wayfarer took no issue with this request. Contrary to Blake's assertion, it was assertion. Chantal, how do I say it?
How do you spell it?
Assertion, whatever, you guys. Don't come at me. Contrary to Blake's, it was she who refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator to plan out scenes, putting Justin in the awkward position of meeting with the intimacy coordinator alone, and later relaying sex scene suggestions to Blake from the intimacy coordinator's absence, not only defeating the purpose, but resulting in accusation by the Times that before shooting began, Justin wanted to add sex scenes that Lively considered inappropriate. In fact, those scenes were proposed by the intimacy coordinator. This is well documented in handwritten notes that Justin took during meetings with the intimacy coordinator. Like, how fucked up is that?
And like, it's like, why are we making it a thing if like you're still like, no matter what, you're having multiple sex scenes in this movie?
Yeah, and things change all the time. So if they wanted to add a scene or not, like things change all the time. So I don't really understand that at all. Chantel's getting tired. I swear we're almost there. We're almost there. Okay, so now Justin Baldoni dated handwritten notes from his meetings with the intimacy coordinator, which again Blake refused to attend. Were read to Lively at her penthouse, where she insisted that she and Justin meet to write sex scenes together. That's kind of weird.
That's very weird. I would not go to my coworker's house to
write sex scenes. If I was Justin, I would be like, that's inappropriate. As it was, the sex scenes were not written out, and it was always Justin's intention for them to be written with input from both the intimacy coordinator and Blake, the female gaze that Blake distorts in her, CRD.
Keep in mind, these were the worst sex scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was so bad, you guys. It really was. Yeah. In response to a proposal from the intimacy coordinator that Ryle not orgasm after he is satisfied, Blake remarked, "I'd be mortified if that happened to me," to which Justin, following Lively's lead in what seemed like an attempt to connect and develop their characters, remarked that those have been some of the most beautiful moments with my wife and I. Blake again distorts this both in protections for return to production. She made Wayfarer, Heath, and Justin sign, and in the CRD complaint, which the Time publishes as fact without any investigation whatsoever. First, the suggestion did not originate with Justin, and Lively knew this. Second, it was Lively who first personalized the scene. And third, and perhaps most importantly, they were writing scenes for characters, just like what you're saying. And then Blake claims that Justin made her feel unsafe when he used the word sexy, which we already talked about, so I will forward that. In Blake's lawsuit, did we talk about the breastfeeding thing?
Yeah.
Okay, how they came in.
There's a text message of literally saying, "Come in, I'm breastfeeding."
Well, and then so there was something about Heath that she said that both Heath and that like Heath would come in a lot, and Justin said both Heath and Justin have children. They're comfortable, they're comfortable around breastfeeding mothers, and Lively seemed equally comfortable. In fact, Justin's wife co-founded a company that makes a breastfeeding garment, so a prototype that originated with his mother when he was a baby. And as revealed in a text message exchange between Blake and Lively just 2 weeks into filming, Lively invited Baldoni to the trailer And then, you know, in the CRD complaint, they say that Heath entered the trailer while she was breastfeeding, and she was not happy about that. Lively suggests that Heath walked in her trailer unannounced while in a state of undressed, topless, which is false. Heath was invited to her trailer along with a female producer, Justin, and a Sony representative for a meeting requested by Blake. Mr. Heath arrived first to see if Lively was ready for the meeting, and after knocking and being invited in, saw that Blake was breastfeeding. She was not topless. She was having makeup removed from her collarbone while fully covered. Heath asked if they should return at a later time. Blake said no, that they could move forward in the meeting as initially planned and would meet them after she finished removing makeup. Roughly 2 weeks later, Blake announced that she thought she had seen Heath make eye contact with her. Blake really loves herself, Shantel.
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh my God, a guy made eye contact with me. Like, you're like, what? I
mean, you're Blake Lively, so like if that's the first time you've had a guy make eye contact with you, there's a problem here.
Yeah. And Heath immediately apologized. He said he hadn't even realized that he looked her way. In response to Blake remarked, she goes, Blake remarked, I know you weren't trying to cop a look.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what Blake said. A reference to this incident conveniently showed up on a document months later, distorted to others and out of context in a list that Times later published as a fact. By the time Wayfair received the protection to return document, Wayfair had invested millions of dollars, completed half the film with Lively as the lead, and incurred substantial costs. So they had to keep going. Now, let me just see. Neither Wayfair had engaged in any of the behavior. And
so
then
like, what? So like, is this like do you think that he's gonna do the exact same lawsuit that he just did to her?
Yes. And with every single text message between them.
Yeah.
So that's what he said. So it was agreed that filming would resume January 5th, 2024. On the evening of 2024, January 4th, Baldoni, Heath, and producers Todd Blake and Alex Sachs, a representative of Sony, and the film's first AD were invited to, this is where it gets crazy, Shantel, Blake and Ryan's penthouse in New York City. They arrived eager to discuss plans for the next day filming. They're back to filming, prepared with their production materials. Instead, they were blindsided by Blake and Ryan, who presented a list of grievances that were both unanticipated and troubling. Ryan launched into a tirade, berating Justin Baldoni in what Justin later described as the most traumatic encounter he's ever had, because he's never, quote, been spoken like that in my entire life. Ryan,
like that just pisses me off more, like with the Ryan stuff more than anything, because it's like, shut the fuck up. Are you joking?
Right. And then
like, don't do it at your house, like where you feel like you're in control.
Most comfortable. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ryan Reynolds, I would have cried. I would have fucking cried right then and there. Ryan Reynolds then demanded an apology to Blake for actions that were mischaracterized and demonstrated falsely. When Baldoni resisted apologizing for what he had not done, Reynolds became further enraged. Everyone, including the producer, Blake, had asked production to and engage a representative of Sony that was in attendance, left that meeting in shock. The producer offered that in their 40-year career, he had never seen anyone speak to someone like that in a meeting. The Sony representative mentioned that she would often think of that meeting, and her one regret is that she did not stop Ryan from berating Justin in front of all of them like that.
Wow.
The producer said that in 40s, I've never said that. The Sony exec said, I'm so sorry that I didn't step in for that. And it's funny because
at this point, like, what is he berating him about? Like, telling Blake the weight thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Ryan Reynolds like had his PR reach out to TMZ to respond to this and basically said, I didn't berate, I was just angry. That was his fucking response, which is crazy.
Which, like, you guys, like, I swear, like, I mean, like, and I'm usually, Roxanne knows, I'm usually team girl. Like, when a girl says something, like, I don't even think it's that crazy for someone to say, like, how much do you weigh when you're having to pick them up. Like, that's not groundbreaking.
I just think like there are people who just like try to make things like really traumatic, and it's like, let's just like live life, dude. Okay, like let's live life. Maybe it's how we were raised. I don't know.
If Blake right now, if I gave you like a thing of rocks or something, wouldn't you ask how much it weighs so you can know if you can lift it up? Like, it's very it's matter of fact at this point. Yeah. It's not about to make you feel embarrassed.
Exactly. She's uncomfortable post baby. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, and of course, and she can feel uncomfortable, but to get to that level and to have your husband cuss out a man is crazy.
I would be so embarrassed. I'd be like, okay, babe, like don't like ruin my reputation. But that goes to show you when you think you have power, like that's how you act. And I mean,
Wild.
Sony was like agreeing to everything. So on the very first page of the CRD complaint, Blake inaccurately claims that a list of 30 items were agreed upon during this meeting. This assertion is categorically false. The 30-point list is strategically positioned to appear as if it was a standalone written document. However, no such document was ever presented to Justin, the Wayfarer team, or to their knowledge, anyone else, whether during that meeting or at any other time, and therefore could not have been agreed to. In reality, many of these items were encountered for the first time in the CRD complaint itself and include references to highly disturbing events that never occurred. The repeated use of the phrase, quote, no more before each demand falsely suggests that these alleged incidents had previously taken place and needed to cease. The implication is not only misleading, but entirely untrue. Justin and Heath left that meeting deeply unsettled by the implications by Blake and Ryan behavior and the power dynamic at play. Faced with mounting pressure and weighing the financial implications of what shutting down a film halfway through production would mean, they made a difficult decision to remove the production, despite fears that Lively was intentionally manipulating facts for her own gain. The stakes were extraordinarily high. Financiers had invested such a huge amount of resources. Hundreds of cast and crew members had endured months without work due to strikes, and nearly 5 years of development had gone into bringing the film for this. The Directors Guild of America mandates a 10-week protected period during which the director of a feature film is entitled to privately edit the film and assemble their director's cut. This period is considered sacred, providing the director with uninterrupted time to creatively shape the final product, an opportunity to experiment, take risks, and redefine or refine until the film fully reflects the artistic vision. For Justin, this period represents the pinnacle of the filmmaking process, a time to immerse himself in creative craft, free from external influences. Unfortunately, he was denied this essential experience. Blake requested to join Justin in the editing bay. As a seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry and having grown up in a family deeply involved in the field, Blake was fully aware of the implications of her request. In fact, her request explicitly acknowledged that it infringed upon Justin's protected period.
Like, what was she like wanting to see, like how she looks in certain settings, and she'd be like, "Oh, cut that out." Like, what was she wanting to do?
Do you think she was like thinking that this was gonna be nominated for several things and this was gonna be her break?
I don't know, because it wasn't, and like literally nothing. Not even because of this. Like, you guys made it a horrible movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm being serious. Sorry, Justin. Sorry, Blake. Horrible movie.
right. I mean, well, it was Blake's final cut, so
Yeah, he didn't get through it. But like, I mean, how many more scenes could he have done to like shape it? I don't know. Horrible.
I mean, but they are saying that she changed things like every day. It says, nonetheless, in the aftermath of and like seriously, like where are your kids? Like go home, okay? Like go home. Like what the fuck?
No, would you say that to
I
a
would
guy?
never be invested in my work stuff like this ever. Nonetheless, in the aftermath of the serious false allegation she had leveled against the production, Justin, Wayfarer, and Sony reluctantly agreed to grant her access to the editing bay for 2 days. Notably, despite her allegations that Justin made her uncomfortable, Blake sought to spend prolonged close time with him in the confined and collaborative space of the editing bay. Shantel, so on TikTok, everyone's saying that Blake liked Justin.
Oh, no.
I know, that's every video, and it's getting like hundreds of thousands of likes.
That's like typical people saying like stuff like that, but
well, because if you feel uncomfortable, you're not going to do these things, unless you like the boy. I don't know.
No,
but
it was all a ploy of power.
Yeah.
And that's it. Power. And maybe she did think that this was going to become something that it was or wasn't. And she was so excited about it. Like you said, she's not an A-list celebrity. She barely is in anything. So she's like, oh, this is like a big time movie that's going to have a lot of money backing it up. And so she was excited about it. It was a big book. Colleen Hoover's huge. So she knew a lot of eyes were going to be on it, but
a strong host game needs a strong wing game. Add Popeye's wings to your game day spread, and the crew won't just be cheering, they'll be salivating. With 8 bold, crispy Louisiana flavors to satisfy everyone's taste buds, our wing game is strong enough to always get you the W. At $5.99 for a 6-piece, order bone-in or boneless for your next watch party. Someone just wrapped up the title of Most Valuable Host.
Have that chicken from Popeyes.
At participating U.S. restaurants, price may vary, tax extra.
The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
It
was
says
all that power.
Yeah, it says what began as a 2-day collaboration extended into 10 days, during which Blake sought to work alone in the editing bay without Justin. Despite Justin incorporating 7 pages of her notes into his own edit at the very onset and consistently keeping her involved in every subsequent, oh my God.
So like they do all these and then she still ends up getting her own way to edit and then they use her movie.
Exactly.
Wild.
Yep.
Well, that's a wrap, y'all.
Yeah, she expressed this. Wait, are you saying this is done?
Yeah.
No, we're not done. We're almost done. She expressed dissatisfaction with mere collaboration, asserting that she too deserved the opportunity to see her creative vision realized. She requested exclusive time with the editors. In response, Wayfair flew Baldoni's editor to New York to assist Lively in the process. Eventually, Blake fired the film's editors, replacing them with her own choice, specifically an editor often used by Ryan Reynolds. She also fired the film's award-winning composer, replacing him with composers from Ryan's recent project. Again, repeated objections.
Power.
Yep, it's all a power thing. Lively created her own cut of the film at Wayfair Sony's expense. Sony later informed Wayfair that Lively would not promote the film unless her demands were met. Believing that Lively's edits would simply supplement Baldoni's work, Baldoni continued refining his director's cut. However, faced with the possibility of Lively refusing to promote it, the film, or approved any relating marketing materials such as trailers, posters, and social media posts, a scenario that would have catastrophic implications, Wayfair and Baldoni felt compelled to agree. This included funding a friends and family screening of a version of the film that they had not approved or even seen entirely at Blake's insistence. Having already invested millions of dollars along with years of time, energy, and personal sacrifice, Wayfair and Baldoni were left with no viable alternatives. Wayfair and Sony found themselves in an uncomfortable predicament to two competing versions of the film created by two different individuals, one of whom had no contractual or creative rights to edit the film, let alone produce their own cut. Faced with Lively's threat to withhold promotion of the film, the studio reluctantly agreed to do an official audience test of both versions, Blake's cut and Justin's director cut. Once again, at Wayfair Sony expense, this decision was made with the understanding that Blake had agreed with Sony that if Justin's director cut tested higher, she would drop the matter and fully corroborate, and Justin could proceed finishing the film without Blake's editorial interferences. Unsurprisingly,
I want to see his cut.
I know, unsurprisingly, despite Justin's cut scoring significantly higher with audience and the film's target demographic, Blake, she went against her promise. She insisted that her cut be the version released to the public, even going so far as to claim that the author of the book would also refuse to promote the film if Blake's version was not chosen. Under immense pressure, Sony and Wayfair once again conceded to that. Can you fucking believe Colleen Hoover?
I know.
You chose Justin for a specific reason. The film scored higher with Justin, and you are saying you're not going to promote it if Blake doesn't get it?
That is wild. Like this whole thing is crazy. Like I wonder how much drama is in like other movies if it's like this, because this is crazy.
Yeah. And then they talk about the PGA mark. I'm not going to go into it again, but he basically says why he felt he was forced to write the letter because Blake instructed Sony to tell Wayfair and Baldoni that any goodwill left between us is done if they don't write the letter for her.
Really crazy. Like really crazy. So then after all of this, basically, like so she dropped her
hold on one sec.
Okay,
so
wow, there's more, y'all.
So Lively's successfully bullied tactics resulted in Baldoni's exile from his own film, consistent with her pattern of vindictiveness as a premiere of the film approach. Blake instructed Sony that she and the cast would not participate in any marketing or promotion of the film alongside Justin. She made certain that Justin was removed from all artwork for the film, posters included, and stripped him of a film by credit. So it wasn't allowed to say a film by Justin Baldoni.
That's crazy though. That is literally crazy. But I will say, like, he's like the worst character of the book. So like him not being on the screen is like, to me, is like fine.
But why is it her choice?
Yeah, for sure. But crazy.
Furthermore, Blake and Ryan unfollowed him on social media, as did the author of the book, someone with whom Justin had maintained a 5-year personal relationship with, and for whom Justin created this opportunity and other cast members. then unfollowed, creating this like false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. It became clear that Lively was working diligently to contrive a narrative that would explain why she took over the film and exiled Justin. Justin had no intention of ever making this information public ever. He promoted the film as originally intended, gave Blake full credit and praise, and wanted the film to succeed. He wanted to move on. Blake, however, refused to let it go. Justin later received word that during the premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agent, William Morris, and demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. The wielding of power and influence became undeniable. Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful of what Blake and Ryan were capable of, as their actions seemed to destroy his career and personal life. Blake excluded Justin from all marketing promotional efforts with the cast film. He was not invited to any cast promotional events, cast screenings, premiere, photo shoots, or other cast campaigns. Justin was left from anything with the marketing plan allegedly created by Blake and Sony, which was later referenced in Lively's CRD complaint as agreed to by all. Justin Baldoni had never seen that. While in Sweden celebrating his wife's birthday, Justin was informed that Blake demanded he not attend the film's premiere on August 9th. Blake further threatened that if Justin attended the premiere, she and the majority of the cast would boycott. It remained unclear what Blake had communicated to or promised to the cast, but they also refused to attend if Justin was present. The fact that Sony advised Wayfarer to concede underscores Lively and Reynolds' power and influence. Justin and Wayfarer refused to succumb to the bullying tactics aimed at preventing them from attending the premiere of their film, a project they had financed, produced, and owned. This threat marked the year-long campaign of intimidation and harassment. Although objectively and shocking, the Wayfarer team had unfortunately grown accustomed to this bullying, fully aware of the immense power this couple had against them. Just days before the film's premiere, Justin was still unsure if he would be allowed to attend his own movie. His friends and family, many traveling from outside New York, were left in limbo, unable to finalize travel plans or book flights. Finally, through Sony, Wayfarer persuaded Lively to allow Justin and the Wayfarer team, along with their friends and family, to attend, though only under demeaning and humiliating conditions. They were relegated to a separate theater to view the film, required to arrive at a different time than the rest of the cast, and instructed to leave the venue immediately after Lively arrived. Baldoni was also excluded from the official celebrity after party, despite it being an event paid for by his company. As a result, Baldoni had to quickly organize and personally fund a separate after party for himself and the Wayfarer team, forcing the company to cover the cost for two events, one for Blake and one for their own friends, family, crew, and team. So the crew went to his, Shantel. The crew didn't go to Blake's.
This is just disgusting.
I know. Upon arrival, Justin, and you guys, I'm so happy that Chantel's listening to this, because Chantel is very pro, like, if a woman says it, and a lot of times it is true. Like, if a woman says it, it is true. But that's why, like, I was like, I'm actually excited. Chantel's dying, but like, I'm actually excited for her to hear all this. So yeah, let me just see. So it says that, so he had to do it for the crew. Upon arrival, Justin began participating in red carpet photos and interviews. However, his efforts were abruptly cut short when it was conveyed that Blake was on her way, and he was instructed to stop immediately. He and his family were quickly ushered away. Security personnel, acting as though they were at risk of escape, escorted Justin's group to the basement of a building. There, they were confined in a makeshift area surrounded by a concession stand stock with only fold-out tables and chairs arranged in a square. Surrounded by close friends, this is so sad, family, soda bottles, and a lot of love. The irony of being held in a basement on what was arguably the most important nights of Justin's career thus far was not lost on anyone. Once the main theater was deemed clear of Blake and her guests, Justin and his group were ushered into a separate theater to view the film. At the conclusion of the screening, they were quickly escorted by security out of the building to avoid even a chance of interaction with Blake and her guests. The Wayfarer after party, held separate from the celebrity event, was a dry gathering reflecting the values and themes that Wayfarers stand for. It was attended by the entire Wayfarer team from Los Angeles and their friends and family. The atmosphere and tone of the Wayfarer after party were aligned with Justin's vision for the film, focusing on celebration and gratitude. And they say prior to the premiere, when they realized Blake was being messy and wasn't going to let Justin come, Justin was then forced to hire a crisis public relation to defend him, because he's seeing what Blake's doing, that there's this negative push, and they wanted out there that she wanted this PGA mark that she took over the film because maybe Justin was problematic. That's what Blake was trying to push. So, meanwhile, Blake's publicist Sloan launched a negative press push against Justin, at least as early as August. TAG was made aware of Sloan planting an unfavorable, false, and defamatory story about Justin's faith to Page 6. Sloan proceeded to feed false stories to Daily Mail and the New York Post containing allegations that Baldoni was a sexual predator. Sloan was also planting false stories that there were multiple HR complaints during production. This in addition to Sloan weaponizing Justin and Wayfair hired Tag and Nathan. And then we see tags, but I don't know if these tags are even at this point because they're important. But yeah, I mean, it's just like it's just like dirty PR stuff.
It's just so crazy to actually think like what was her and Ryan's, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that house. Like, what was there like in those weeks of like all that shit coming out of them? They probably were in disbelief after everything they did from this film to get her to get whatever they want, the power. They were probably so shocked. But to me, the truth always prevails.
When you're greedy and you really start thinking of yourself, at first I thought they were that sarcastic, funny couple until I'm like, you guys are assholes. Like, to put someone through this and not think how hard this might be on them, like that this was their passion project and you made it unbearable for them. Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, like, for
right.
what?
Did you get an award? You're literally canceled, you jackass.
You made the worst movie of life. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Indeed, while
I'm being serious, it was horrible.
I watched it in theaters. I don't know. I didn't read the book though. But yeah, like it was like I made my husband come and he was so pissed.
And this was before like you knew a little bit of the drama, but it wasn't like this.
Yeah. Indeed, while Justin sought to focus on the film's central premise, Blake insists audiences with seemingly flippant and tone-deaf remarks, encouraging viewers to grab your friends and wear your florals. Embarrassed by the self-induced backlash, Blake now seeks to vilify Justin in an attempt to get her public image better. In the article, the Times write that Blake's filing includes excerpts from thousands of pages of text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. These and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. However, the Times failed to review and or investigate the plethora of communications demonstrating that plaintiffs had zero intention of smearing Blake and every intention of simply promoting the film and its message. There is a thing on August 11th that Justin says, "Good morning, team. So I was thinking about the response to this weekend, and I feel like what we should do is make sure to emphasize the voices of the survivors. It's going to be a lot of buzz of how much money the movie made, but I want to be the one that always directs this back to the survivors. So I would love to come up with some sort of video or messages from survivors and their response to the film." Like, that's a shitty thing, bro.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? And then, you know how Blake said that Justin bought bots? Here is a text of Justin making sure with his PR team that they are not hiring bots. So let me just go to it real quick. Justin says, he goes, "Hey, this is an example of someone trolling Blake on all my posts, but it doesn't seem like a real account." And then Justin says, tag team, "I've been seeing some Instagram comments on random posts defending me by being by people who are privately with no followers and they feel like bots. Can you please confirm that we're not doing any of this? I really don't want bots defending me as it feeds into their potential narrative." So he was like covering all fucking bases, he was like seeing it himself and he's like, "I don't want them to think that I'm doing this." And they were like, "I could fully confirm that we do not have bots. This is also not what we do. Bots look fake to anyone. The other team is doing something very specific in terms, I don't know, what Jamie and Jed connected on this." So there was that. All right, to make an ending of this. So the lawsuit ends with
We're ending.
The lawsuit ends with the New York Times intentionally not giving Justin enough time to respond to what he is saying is a false accusation and running the story earlier than they claimed. Following the lawsuit that Justin released on January 1st in New York federal court, so Justin released, he did that in California. Blake on January 1st releases now an official lawsuit in New York, accusing Justin Baldoni and his PR team of organizing a sophisticated scheme to undermine her reputation in retaliation for speaking up about alleged misconduct on set. She does not highlight the sexual stuff on this actual lawsuit.
Which was such a big turn of events. Like you go
when you say that, that's it. You're fucked, And a statement to the Independent, which you should be if you did that. In a statement to The Independent, a New York Times spokesperson said, The role of an independent news organization is to follow the facts where they're led. Our story was and responsibly reported. It was based on a review of thousands of pages, original documents, including the text and emails that we quote accurately in the article. So they're saying this, even though we're seeing the full context and shit that they remove. But I do think what New York Times might have in power is that they got all this from Blake. So it wasn't them who edited it, you know?
Yeah,
It
but
wasn't like New York Times who
yeah.
did that. Like they just took what Blake gave them.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm sure they're still I'm guaranteed they're going to settle with him.
And of course, in a separate $250 million, in a separate statement, Justin Baldoni's attorneys, Brian Friedman, told The Independent, in this vicious smear campaign fully orchestrated by Blake Lively and her team, the New York Times cowered to the wants and whims of two powerful, untouchable Hollywood elites, disregarding journalistic practices and ethics, one befitting of the revered publication by using doctored and manipulated text and intentionally omitting texts which dispute their chosen PR narrative. In doing so, they predetermined the outcome of their story and aided and abetted their own devastating PR smear campaign designed to revitalize Blake Lively's self-induced floundering public image and counter the organic groundswell of criticism among the online public. The irony is rich. Make no mistake, however, as we all unite to take down the New York Times by no longer allowing them to deceive the public, we will continue this campaign of authentically by also suing those individuals who have abused their power to try and destroy the lives of my clients. While their side embraces partial truth, we embrace the full truth and have all the communication to back it. The public will decide for themselves as they did when this first began. So, and you know, those texts, okay, I said this, how they,
well, I want to know, like, so after this happened, like, how did everyone like again turn back and go on Justin's side?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I Googled Justin's net worth, by the way. It says 1 million. That's literally nothing in LA. And I doubt that's even an accurate thing, but he is married, has a family. He doesn't have money to spend on lawsuits. So I feel like with Blake and Ryan, they absolutely do, which I was concerned for Justin because how is he going to defend himself? Well, Steve Schwartz is the billionaire who's backing, you know, who's like the co-founder of the Wayfair company. So I think he's helping Justin on that. But after the complaint came out from Blake before Justin's lawsuit, Colleen Hoover, the author, Jenny Slate, she played Justin's sister, and Brandon, who was the young version of Justin Baldoni, backed Blake Lively. But it is said that
he's the young version. He's not the young version of Justin Baldoni. He's the young version of
whatever that Ryle.
No,
and
of Ryle is another character. There's no young version of Justin. We just meet him when he's older.
No, I know. I meant Ryle. I'm just saying, like, Ryle's the character's name, Chantal.
No, I know. I'm saying there's no young version of Ryle. It's the other character. You just don't know him. It's the one that like it's the other one that she falls in love with. That's like her true guy.
Oh my God. So that wasn't him. Clearly I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, no, that was the young version of Justin. I thought, oh my God, this whole time I think, because you know what? Because she's the young version of Blake.
There's a young version of Blake, but then it's the young version of the other guy, not Ryle.
Okay, thanks. Well, so Hassan Minhaj, who played Justin's brother-in-law and is a comedian, said he was unaware of any set issues. He even presented the award to Justin in December that got taken away because of Blake's complaint. Following all of this, Blake filed a federal complaint against Wayfarer Studios, Justin, and other parties in the Southern District of New York, which is interesting because their complaint was in LA. I heard that if it goes to trial in New York, the public won't be able to see it. So that's maybe why she did that. Her first complaint was filed in LA, and then the smear camp. And Blake says that the smear campaign that Justin was part of led to 78% drop in sales of her hair care products and drinks. According to the Daily Mail in the lawsuit, Blake is asking for punitive damages and money judgment that represents compensation damages, lost wages.
That's disgusting. Like that really is just like you're being money hungry right now. Are you joking? There's like so many things in this world.
Who is her PR that told her this is a good idea? Like, who is her PR that said, yes, ask for all this money for you and your rich husband? Like, who is her PR? She's also requesting.
I think what they want is like some sort of win any way it goes, just to be like, see, I wasn't in the wrong or something, you know? And like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. She's also requesting an award of money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe and serious emotional distress in an amount to be proven at trial. By the way, Justin's people came out and said, we want to take this to court ASAP. Like, we have nothing to hide. We want to take this to court. Justin's attorney revealed that following the lawsuit, Justin will be filing a lawsuit against Blake. He says, we are working on it. We plan to release every single text message between the two of them. We want the truth to be out there. We want the documents to be out there. We want people to make their determination based on receipts. Following the whole thing, TikTok, being the amazing outlet that it is, found a deleted scene of Deadpool that came out, okay? So in Deadpool and Wolverine, which Ryan co-wrote and co-produced, which was filmed around the same time as It Ends With Us, Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine encounter a Deadpool variant named Nice Pool. Shantel, Nice Pool was Ryan Reynolds. He sports a man bun, a hairstyle that Justin noticeably also sported for years. The character makes a comment about Lady Pool, played by Blake, saying, oh my goodness, wait till you've seen Lady Pool. She's gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and you can't even tell. After Nice Pool makes the comment about Lady Pool's body, Deadpool tells him, I don't think you're supposed to say that. In response, Nice Pool, with one hand on his chest, says, that's okay. I identify as a feminist. So here's the deleted scene videos that I want you to listen to that I have. Are you still with me, Shantel?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're all still here.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my goodness, where do you see Lady Pool? She is gorgeous. He just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. I identify as a feminist.
That one wasn't that good. Hold on.
I'd be fighting alongside them, but my calling is to one day host a podcast that monetizes the women's movement. Hey, cowboy, my eyes are up here. I know it's tempting. I look at it too sometimes. I'd be fighting alongside.
Okay, so he says,
he's like trying to be funny on like all the things that they like were complaining about.
No. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that, hold on, let me see the first one. Yeah, like his calling is to like, identify as a feminist and to open up a podcast that monetizes on women, because Justin Baldoni has a podcast where they do that, where they talk about women and like being a voice for women too. So that's what he's saying. Then Hugh Jackman looks at like his private and he says, hey, hands at like, look at my eyes. And that is in reference to the fact. Yeah, the Heath thing, Heath that like looked at Blake Lively's like whatever part. And then in another deleted scene, he says, and where in God's name is the intimacy coordinator? What the fuck, dude? You guys are clearly not uncomfortable. You're like shitting on this man's life. You're making it a thing. You're mocking him. Like you're literally like, you're mean. You're so mean.
And all for what?
I swear to God, you guys.
I just don't get it. Like all for what? I really don't understand. That's why I hate Hollywood.
I know. And I know we are all about like canceled celebrities at this point, because like I actually thought Ryan and Blake were the normal celebrities, you guys. I fucking did. And I'm like, you know what? There's no normal celebrities, but they're like sarcastic. They're funny. They can handle a joke. They're like, they seem, Ryan like says the craziest shit. They can handle stuff. And then I'm like, fuck no, they're not. They're like literally Satan, bro. They're literally Satan. They're all the fucking same. They're all crazy. They all are super crazy. So we just need to stop supporting celebrities. Like they don't give a shit about us. Like we need to stop doing it.
And like what they do when like they feel like they're empowered too, like they will move heaven on earth to freaking make sure that like someone doesn't get what they want.
I know. And that's just like so out of touch. Like we can't do that. We get wronged a lot in the real world. And like, we would never be able to do stuff like that. We would never be able to have our husband fucking berate our employee without getting fired,
And listen, if these things were actually like legit things, like go for it. Like, hell yeah, more power to you. You get your husband involved. You do what you need to do. But like, for what? Like this was all made up in your fucking head.
Yeah, okay. And one question I have for you, Shantel. So Chantel's like a Taylor Swiftie. Do you think, and I don't think it's like necessarily completely true, like you are who you hang out with, but do you think that there could be like a different side to your Taylor Swift?
No, because like, I mean, just because you're friends, you hang out and go to dinner once a month and like hang out with them. And that doesn't mean anything to me.
I will say,
at the end of the day, like if this happened to you and you came to me and told me the story, like I'm going to have your back. Like you're going to tell me like, I felt so uncomfortable. It was disgusting. Like what he did, I'm going to screw him over with my power. I'm like, hell yeah, you go do it. So it's like, she probably heard such a different side. And like what is that?
She hasn't spoke on it. I don't see her doing that, but
no, I told you she won't speak on it.
Yeah. I don't see her doing that, but it just makes you wonder. Cause like, when you have power, like, are you?
That's the one thing I watched that Perez Hilton like reported that like she also threatened to take away Taylor Swift's song in it to Justin.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Shut up. Like, shut up. You're so ugly. Like, stop it. Oh my gosh.
Taylor is a godmother to their kids. So like I mean they're really close, but
she's stuck with her now. But like I can only imagine how much shit they talk, and like I just like that means like Taylor's like in on those conversations, and I don't know. It's just they don't seem like good people. And again, I thought
Taylor's all about a creative and creative. So I don't know. I would be curious to know what she really thought.
I know, like after reading both sides. But you guys, this has been weighing heavy on me the last 2 weeks. I've been on it on
Thank you, Roxanne. Like, well, that was a lot of work that you did. You wrote a lot, you talked a lot. So we hope that you guys really enjoyed this as much as she has.
I know. I just wanted to get the truth out there. And I'm not a paid bot. So don't think that I'm a paid bot, because like you can clearly see where I'm leaning towards. And I'm not sorry about that, but you can see where I'm leaning towards, and I'm not a bot. Like it's just based on both things and like power. And we've seen it time and time again. And if I'm wrong in the future, I'll apologize for it. But yeah. I've always like I started listening to his podcast and everything. And he just seems like a genuinely great guy. And everyone around him, we see all these videos of Blake in the past. There's not been one video of Justin coming out that's been negative, only good experiences. So that tells you something.
When you see people like defend her side, when you've been watching all these things, like what is their main argument for her?
So this is just what it is. So a lot of people are getting annoyed on TikTok because it's all, and I don't think it has anything to do with it. It's all white women defending Blake Lively, whereas in like African-American and people who actually went through domestic violence and the minority and stuff are like, dude, like you don't even know how it is to like be uncomfortable. Like you don't know how it is. And the what they're just saying is like Justin Baldoni comes across as a creep. If Blake is saying it, then we believe it. You are a misogynist. Like that's what they're saying.
Listen, that's where I can say like, okay, like we can't take away that Blake felt uncomfortable in any situation.
I think Justin Baldoni felt uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, like I think if she felt uncomfortable, but what she did with that and what she did and like what she made about it was wild. Like that punishment doesn't fit that crime, okay, at all.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's crazy. So I don't know, guys.
Let us know your thoughts if you're still.
Yeah, please let us know if you guys listen to this. Like, it would make me happy. It took me like almost 2 hours to put it together. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Even if it disagrees from ours or mine or anything, like I still want to hear your perspective. Like I enjoy hearing everyone's perspective. I'm always open to it. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you got this far. If you did, send us a DM and say, I got this far. And I'm going to be like, what? Bestie. But thank you guys for listening. And because we've started on this, we will continue to talk about this. So Shantel, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm here for the ride.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have a great day.
God, don't let it go to core.
No, really. Bye, guys.